I read your opinion regarding the clericalism, and you said that it's crucial to end clericalism within the church. You said if we want to rid the church of clericalism, then it has to begin with us. What does it mean?
I made those comments in a presentation to about 250 priests gathered in St. Louis from around the United States and, in fact, around the world. My point was simply that clericalism is something that convinces a priest that his own baptism is not the starting place for his ministry, but that he in some way has special privileges or even exemptions from the demands of the gospel. When a priest begins to live their life that way, with a clericalist mentality, they forget that they also have a call to holiness. And therefore, if they begin to live their life exempt from the gospel, then we will begin to have many problems in the life of the church, which I think the abuse crisis is a good example. So my hope would be that priests would understand that their ministry has to begin with a renewed commitment to their baptismal call, a call to holiness. When a young man asks the church to ordain him, his petition has two reasons usually. The first is for the care of souls, but the other is for my own salvation. Mm-hmm. And I think the importance of starting with baptism reminds a priest every day that he serves the people of God as one who joins them in taking up the journey of faith that begins in baptism.
Mm-hmm. You've also mentioned these issues in your presentation during the meeting in Vatican in February. I have an impression that you draw a strong opposition between clericalism and synodality on the other hand. And my question is how to bridge this gap between clergy and laity. Sometimes it's hard to persuade priests or bishops about the strongness of this issue, and so how to communicate it to them.
You are giving me many things to think about, especially as you point out that there is a difference between clericalism and synodality, and that I think is right on the mark. The synodality, it begins with an understanding that we are all on a journey together. We are walking together. That means that we listen to each other. As the Pope said during the Synod, there is an importance of listening all the time, but also speaking. The church has to be the teaching church and the listening church, the ecclesia dicens et docens. And I think that synodality helps a priest understand that he is walking with other people. If he separates himself from the people to the point where he doesn't see that they have something to offer him through their own baptism, that they in some way have the movement of the Spirit to offer the church, then he is going to convince himself he has all the answers. Mm-hmm. And if he does that, he exempts himself from the Spirit of God speaking through lay people. And that is very harmful to one's own spirituality once you begin to live your life in isolation from the people of God. So synodality is the exact opposite of clericalism.
Mm-hmm. And do you think there is any way for lay Catholics to work on this isolated bishops, for example, if there is no, or parish priest even, or are there any ways of engaging lay Catholics in general in the work of the church, but also in this fight with clericalism, let's say? Some bishops like Francisco de Leon from Philippines proposed to leave all administrative duties for laity in diocese. And a similar proposal came from Cardinal Marx in Germany. And do you personally have any ways to engage laity?
I think, first of all, it's important for us to help all people, the clergy, the ordained, as well as lay people, understand the proper ecclesiology that synodality offers. So I think, first of all, our first demand is to teach. But we also have to make sure that we do not reduce this discussion to sharing power. I think what's more important to keep in mind is that we always have to ask the question, how is the exercise of authority, administration, power done that helps everyone in the church, all the baptized, live their baptismal commitment? The Holy Father uses the image of the inverted pyramid. That means he turns the pyramid upside down, so that everyone then is at the top. And all of those below who are there to serve in such a way that they animate and facilitate the baptismal commitment of everyone. It's very important for those, whoever has governing responsibility, authority, administration in the life of the church, to understand that they do not serve by governing, but they govern by serving. And there is a difference between those two mentalities. So my hope would be that however the church gives administrative responsibilities to people, it would always be done in a way that allows the entire church, all the baptized, to live their baptismal commitments. That's the question we should be asking. Not who has power, who does the administration, but how it is exercised by anyone in the church.
And have you done any steps in your diocese regarding this?
Well, yes. I've been a bishop now for 21 years. And in all of those dioceses, 3 dioceses that I have served, I've always looked for ways in which the charisms, the talents, the abilities of all the people of God, clergy as well as lay, can be used for the good of the whole, the good of all the baptized. So I have had in all of my dioceses chancellors who are women or men who have important responsibilities. Presently in the Archdiocese of Chicago, we have a communications director, my general counsel, also a person who is in charge of the day-to-day operations, which we call a COO, Chief Operations Officer, is a woman who actually is in charge of the day-to-day operations of the Archdiocese. We have 13,000 employees, 300 parishes, 200 schools, the largest Catholic charities in the United States, but also the largest provider of social services in the state of Illinois. There's no way that I can take care of all of those things, and I need expert people. So my job all the time is to make sure that I choose the right people to have responsibility so that the whole is served best. And that, I think, is the model that we should be exercising today.